Okay, so what if you woke up one day and your life was just completely swapped with someone else's? I mean, really swapped. Well, that's exactly what's happening in this part of Mark Twain's classic, The Prince and the Pauper. We're going to dive into how a simple change of clothes literally plunges a prince into poverty and puts a pauper on the throne. It's an incredible reversal, so let's get right into it.
So just look at this. In one single moment, two lives are just flipped upside down. You've got Tom Canty, who was a pauper, now he's decked out in silk and heading to a royal feast. And then you have the actual prince, Edward, who's in rags, being hunted down by a man who's just committed murder. I mean, talk about a shocking reversal of fortune. This right here sets the stage for everything that's about to happen.
All right, so first up, let's follow Tom Canty's side of the story. You know, he's living this life of unimaginable luxury, right? It's a total dream come true. Or is it? Turns out this dream might just be a bit of a nightmare in disguise.
So picture this. Tom's on this amazing royal barge floating down the river. He's the center of attention, everyone's fawning over him, and he's on his way to this huge, grand banquet. It's like something out of a fairy tale for sure. But behind that princely look on his face, he's actually feeling, well, he's feeling this deep sense of loss. Something's really wrong.
And this right here, this thought just says it all. Would he ever be able to play and swim in the river again? I mean, think about that. He's surrounded by all this wealth, this luxury, and all he can think about is his old life, the freedom he's lost. It's incredible. He might look like a prince, but honestly, he feels like he's trapped in a cage.
Okay, now let's switch gears completely. We're going to look at Prince Edward, and his new life is, well, it's a brutal, violent struggle for survival in the dark, dirty alleys of London. A whole different world.
Yeah, so while Tom is floating down the Thames in style, Edward is literally trapped on Pudding Lane in the clutches of John Canty, Tom's absolutely cruel and furious father. You have to remember, this is a kid who's only ever known respect and luxury. This is just a terrifying drop into a world of abuse he can't even comprehend.
But just when things seem their darkest, there's this little glimmer of hope. This man, Father Andrew, he's the kind old priest who taught Tom how to read and dream. He steps in. He tries to protect the boy, who of course he thinks is Tom. It's such a brave thing to do, but his courage is about to have some absolutely devastating consequences.
And then it happens. In just a blind fit of rage, John Canty strikes the priest. He hits him. Father Andrew just falls to the ground and doesn't get back up. In that single moment, everything changes. The stakes are just raised through the roof. This isn't just about a misplaced prince anymore. Now it's about a man on the run from the law.
And then, the horrifying truth comes out. One of John's friends confirms it. Father Andrew is dead. John Canty killed him. So just like that, he's gone from being a petty thief and a drunk to a full-blown murderer. And he knows what that means. He has to run. Now.
So this desperate escape plan gets thrown together in a panic. John tells his wife, "We have to go, right now." She's going to take the girls, and he's going to take the boy he thinks is his son, Tom, who is really Prince Edward. The plan is to meet up later on London Bridge. The whole family is just shattered, and poor Edward is getting dragged along as a pawn in this incredibly dangerous game.
So they head for London Bridge. But what's supposed to be their meeting point, their place of refuge? Well, it turns into a scene of complete and utter chaos. Because when they get there, the bridge is just swarming with people. But they're not looking for a murderer. Oh no, they're cheering and celebrating their future king. The irony here is just staggering, right? They're all cheering for Tom, the imposter, while the real prince, the one they're celebrating, is lost somewhere in the middle of that very crowd.
And this is just the peak of that irony. You can just imagine the real Prince Edward, totally lost in this sea of people, screaming, "Let me pass, I am the prince!" But his voice is just completely swallowed up by the sound of the crowd, a crowd that's cheering for the very boy who's stolen his life. But you have to remember, Edward is not just some ordinary kid. He's clever. He sees his chance. He uses all that chaos to his advantage, gives John Canty the slip, and just disappears into the crowd. He makes a run for it, heading straight for the Guildhall. It's his one last hope.
So he finally makes it to the Guildhall, but his journey is nowhere near over. In fact, right here, his fate is about to take another totally unexpected turn.
He gets there totally exhausted but still determined, and what does he find? A wall of soldiers blocking the doors.
He demands to be let in, claiming he's the prince. But they just laugh at him. Nobody listens to a little boy dressed in rags. All his royal authority means absolutely nothing when he looks like a beggar.
And just as Edward is about to lose all hope, a stranger steps forward, a lifeline. His name is Miles Hendon. He's a soldier just back from the wars, and he says this to him. He's the very first person to look past the dirty rags and see the courage, the spirit, inside the boy. And then, all of a sudden, a huge shout erupts from inside the Guildhall. "Long live King Edward! Long live the king!" That single cry just shatters the night. It's a proclamation that's going to change the course of history. And for this poor boy in rags standing outside, it's about to change absolutely everything.
Now you have to understand, that phrase, "Long live the king," isn't just a random cheer. It has a very, very specific meaning. It's what people traditionally shout when one monarch dies and the next one takes the throne. So in that single instant, Edward learns two things. First, that his father, King Henry VIII, is dead. And second, that he, this dirty little boy in rags, is now the King of England.
And seeing how devastated the boy is by this news, Miles Hendon says this: "Prince or pauper, it makes no difference to me." What an incredible thing to say. He doesn't care about titles or status. He just sees a kid who's hurting and needs help. And just like that, this soldier becomes the unlikely protector of an unrecognized king.
So, it all comes down to this, doesn't it? We've got a pauper being treated like a king and a king being treated like a pauper. It really makes you wonder, who is in the greater danger? Is it Tom, trapped in that golden cage? Or is it Edward, lost in a world of violence and poverty? It's a really interesting question that gets right to the heart of this story. Something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this breakdown.